Yo guys, welcome back to episode 17 of Motivated by Pain. This is the third part of the 5 Keys to Health series, and in this video we'll talk about efficient rest and the benefits of a good night's slumber. And at the end of the video, I'll give you some tips that will help you create the best conditions for sleep. I hear a lot of people say, I waste a third of my life sleeping and I hate it. But the thing is that sleep is absolutely necessary for maintaining a healthy mind and body, as I will show you later on in the video. But for now, let's see what makes us sleep and why do we need it. Sleep is a naturally recurring state of mind and body, and the two main elements regulating sleep are the circadian rhythm and sleep drive. Sleep works in 5 stages. Stage 1 is the transition from wakefulness to sleep, and this lasts for about 10 to 20 minutes. Stage 2 is where the body temperature drops and the brain begins to produce sleep spindles. According to some studies, the more sleep spindles you get during a sleep, the more restorative it will be. Stage 3 and 4, deep sleep, where the blood pressure drops, blood flow to the muscles increases, human growth hormone is released, and the brain flushes out the toxins. And stage 5 is Rem sleep, or rapid eye movement. This is where the brain activity is high, your body becomes paralyzed so you can't act out your dreams, and heart rate and respiration increase. Rem sleep is also vital for our emotional IQ. This is our ability to monitor our own and other people's emotions. You know that you can see a person's emotion on their face. Well, due to the lack of REM sleep, this ability is impaired. Now let's see what are the circadian rhythm and sleep drive. The circadian rhythm is an internal process that regulates our wake-sleep cycle and is present in nearly all life forms, like humans, animals, plants, and microbes. Some people also call this the internal clock or the body clock. And the sleep drive is caused by a buildup of a neurotransmitter in the brain called adenosine. The adenosine builds up every second from the moment we wake up, so the longer we stay awake, the more adenosine will accumulate. This adenosine buildup clears away while we sleep, and we wake up with a fresh and empty tank. I'll tell you an interesting fact about caffeine and adenosine later on. Now let's see, why do we need sleep? From the memory point of view, we need sleep so our brain can consolidate our memory. We have this part of our brain called the hippocampus, which stores the new information we learn every day. It's a short-term memory base with limited space, and sleep helps us transfer the new information learned from the short-term memory base to the long-term memory base, at the same time creating the connection between the new information and the old information. It's just like a computer file transfer. Imagine you have the short-term memory folder and the long-term memory folder, and you just move the files. Well, that's what you do during sleep, and you also create the connections between them. You might be familiar with the expression sleep on it when you have a problem that's hard to solve. Well, the reason we often find the solution when we sleep is because of the connections created between the old and the new. And from the physical point of view, we need sleep so our body can release the human growth hormone, which is vital for normal growth in kids and teenagers. This hormone also repairs the cells in our body and optimizes our vital functions. Studies show that routinely sleeping 6 hours or less a night negatively impacts our immune system, nearly doubling the risk of cancer. And night shift work has been associated with most cases of breast cancer in women. Continuous lack of sleep can lead to Alzheimer's disease due to the accumulation of a protein in our brain called beta amyloid. Normally, the fragments of this protein are broken down, but due to the lack of sleep, plaques are formed. Our brain has this fluid called cerebrospinal fluid, or CSF, and the role of CSF is to cushion the brain and serve as a shock absorber. But it also circulates nutrients and chemicals filtered from the blood, and it removes waste material from our brain, of which beta amyloid. Studies show that when we sleep, our brain flushes out the toxins twice faster than when we're awake. So the more sleep you lose, the harder it will be for your brain to flush them out. Another interesting fact is that due to the lack of sleep, our arteries can become clogged up, and this can lead to strokes, heart attacks, and cardiovascular disease. Lack of sleep also affects our blood sugar level by increasing it, which can lead to diabetes. And you might have noticed that when you don't sleep enough and you feel tired the next day, you tend to eat a lot more. Well, that's because insufficient sleep sets your hormones out of balance. More specifically, ghrelin, which is the hunger hormone, and leptin, which is the fullness hormone. So as you can see, sleep is not just closing your eyes and opening them after 8 hours. Sleep is vital to all life on Earth. Basically, no sleep, no quality of life. Now let's see how much sleep do we actually need. Over the last 100 years, sleep duration has decreased from an average of 8 to 9 hours a night to an average of 6.2 hours a night in today's fast-paced world. Most doctors and sleep experts recommend a daily slumber of 7 to 9 hours. There are of course special cases where people only need 6 hours or even less, but chances are that's not you, because there's a very small number of those lucky people on the planet. Now let's see, why do we need 7 to 9 hours in bed? You might know that we sleep in cycles of 90 minutes, and that during the 9 hours in bed, we don't get exactly 9 hours of sleep. We wake up a lot during the night without having any recollection that we did, and this is due to the waking period being very short and to sleep inertia, which makes us fall back asleep and resume the stage we were in. In fact, the time spent awake in most people during the night is between 30 minutes to an hour and a half. I bet you don't remember being awake for the length of a movie during the night, do you? As I said, we sleep in cycles of 90 minutes, and we need 4 to 5 cycles during a night's sleep. So, 5 cycles add up to 7 hours and a half. Plus the time you're awake, let's say a maximum of an hour, that makes it 8 hours and a half. And there you have 7 to 9 hours. And now you know why. Now let's see what are some of the common inhibitors that stop us from getting quality sleep. Let's start with the most obvious one, caffeine. You might have heard the term of half-life of a drug or substance. This is half of the total time it takes your body to get rid of a certain drug, medication or substance. And the half-life of caffeine is 5 to 6 hours. That's why a coffee late in the afternoon or in the evening can greatly impact your ability to fall asleep. The interesting fact I was going to tell you about adenosine and caffeine is that when we consume coffee, caffeine takes the place of the adenosine in the adenosine receptors. And that's why we feel more energized when drinking coffee while being tired. But there's a come down to it as well. When the effect of caffeine wears off, we're hit by the extra adenosine that has built up and feel even more tired than before. It's like a double whammy where we come down crashing. So best advice is to have your coffee no later than 3 p.m. The second inhibitor is alcohol. Yeah, you might fall asleep easily after a few glasses of wine or a few beers, but the quality of your sleep will be drastically reduced, and you might have to take a few bathroom trips too during the night. So best advice is avoid any alcohol consumption at least 3 hours before you fall asleep. Then we have blue light, which is a huge problem for everyone, kids and adults. Although a lot of people enjoy watching TV or staying on their devices until just before they close their eyes, they forget that the light emitted by these devices is blue light, which is the one that affects the most our circadian rhythm and our brain's ability to generate melatonin. Melatonin is the hormone that signals sleep and is released by our brain a few hours before bedtime so it can slow down our brain waves and prepare us for sleep. But blue light can trick our brain into believing that it's still daylight, and therefore our ability to produce melatonin will be impaired. So set your devices aside and have a digital detox at least 45 minutes before you fall asleep. You can also use blue light filter apps, or maybe your device has these filters directly in settings. For example, my tablet has the blue light filter apps. Check yours. The next inhibitor is your diet. When it comes to the last meal of the day, you should aim to have it no later than 2 to 3 hours before bedtime, so your body can have the necessary time to digest the food. Very good things to add into your diet for creating the perfect sleep conditions in your body are magnesium-rich foods like salmon, avocado, bananas, nuts, seeds, dark chocolate. Also, there's another ingredient that really helps with sleep, and that is tryptophan. Tryptophan is an amino acid that is essential for creating serotonin, which helps control mood and sleep. Tryptophan-rich foods are poultry, salmon, chicken, eggs, nuts, seeds, with the highest concentration of tryptophan being in pumpkin seeds. Then we have exercise. Exercise is one of the best things we can do for our mind and body. Exercise lowers our stress and anxiety levels, which are two main contributors to sleep disorders. But a workout done too close to bedtime can affect our ability to fall asleep due to the adrenaline levels and the cortisol levels being elevated. So avoid working out at least 3 hours before you go to sleep. Another major issue for many people is not having a bedtime routine. Try and have a consistent sleep schedule and look for a way to calm and clear your mind before you fall asleep. Meditate, read, journal, or do something to slow down your brainwaves. A huge one is the temperature in our bedroom. It's a known fact that the body temperature drops at night so we can enjoy a quality sleep, but too many people sleep in very hot rooms. The best temperature for your bedrooms while you sleep is between 15 to 18 degrees Celsius or 60 to 67 degrees Fahrenheit. And the last one is people not knowing their chronotypes. This is your body's preferred sleeping time, and there are two main chronotypes. These are morning larks and night owls, and the name says it all. Morning larks like to go to bed early and wake up early. Night owls go to bed late and wake up late. You can find your chronotype by doing this for a week. Allow yourself to go to bed whenever you feel tired and wake up the next day without an alarm clock. Do this for a week and make sure to write down the times so you can assess them better. This will give you an indication of when to go to sleep and when to wake up. Easy. And that was all I had on sleep. I hope that now you understand better the importance of the 7 to 9 hours of daily slumber. Stay tuned for part 4, proper hygiene. And don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and peace.